for this camp, I kind of have a chip on my shoulder that I want to do it with my team. I want it like I want to do it with Team Crossface because I don't want there to be a narrative.
The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. Sam, I think we met in all of places, India.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but
I can barely remember what I had for breakfast. So that must have been about. God, that was a long time ago. What, 1-0, 2-0?
Yeah.
If you remember, fair play to you. But I definitely.
I
definitely don't remember. Sorry, man.
We're in the same. We were there at Super Fight League, and I yeah.
Oh, okay. Then we must have.
Yeah, we must have crossed paths or something. I remember meeting your coach though, for sure.
You remember that, Dave? Yeah, David Lee is he's one that you meet once and you remember who he is. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So when I was thinking,
it's been a long time.
Man, I remember. Yeah, it's been a long time. I remember like you hopping on my radar at that point, and then me following, from afar, watching you in Brave and stuff, and developing and everything. It's been an incredible journey, man. That's why I'm so happy to be able.
We've come a long way since there.
Yeah, for sure. Man. What a wild, crazy place that was, huh? Super Fight League in Mumbai.
What a story that was! I tell you, I learned some valuable lessons on that trip. Oh man, I tell you what, there's some stories behind that trip.
Yeah. Hey, that's another podcast. That's another whole podcast you could go with right there.
Yeah, that's a whole hour right there.
Well, yeah, when you get more famous, you can put all that stuff out there, right? When you get more famous.
For sure.
March 18th, man, UFC 286. You'll be stepping into the octagon for the first time. How much of a blessing is it for you to be making your debut in your home country?
It's a massive blessing, it's what dreams are made of. And we were just saying about Super Fight League, to travel the world, India, Saudi Arabia, racking up wins against high competition, then to get the opportunity to, after all them years, come back and fight for the biggest organization in the world. It don't get more blessed than that, So I am very excited. I prepared correctly and I can't wait. We're not far now.
Yeah, and you've had a very unique career so far, and you're still so young, still so early in your career, but you've been all over the world, man. Seriously, all over the world. Like how crazy is it? Like when you look back at the last couple of years of just traveling and being basically a globetrotter.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've been able to I never thought this sport, and I always thought I'd make it to the UFC. I just didn't see me traveling the world, fighting for a living. Like once you hit the UFC, yes, then you're going to travel the world, and getting that's a massive accomplishment in itself. Getting to the UFC, very few ever do that. So the fact I was able to travel the world and fight in all these countries I probably never would have went to. Like I never had them on a bucket list to go to some of these countries, and they're absolutely beautiful. And I'm just blessed to do what I love every single day and get to travel the world and do what I love. It's like it's amazing, it's crazy.
You were coming up, you're fighting for Brave, you're facing all these different types of opponents from all over the world. They're much more experienced than you, and you had great success against them. How much more battle tested do you feel like you are compared to other 26 years old, fighters in the game right now?
Yeah, I feel like I've been tested already. Like you see a lot of fighters don't get tested till they get to the UFC because they pick and choose their opponents on the way up. You can see in my career I never had that, and I'm grateful for that, because if I couldn't beat them guys outside the UFC, I'm not UFC caliber. Like everyone you can get to the UFC, but if you haven't been tested and had those tests outside the UFC, you're going to have 1 or 2 fights in the UFC, get cut, and no one's going to know who you are. I've been tested outside the UFC, so when I'm now had the Contender Series fight and now I'm signed by the UFC, my career is just starting. Like I've got a career in the UFC. I know I have. I know I'm tested. I know I've been tested, and I am UFC caliber, and I can't wait to go show it March 18th and start off my UFC career. Like I'm not having 1 or 2 fights. I'm looking at 10 years in the UFC.
Let's talk about that Contender Series fight, man. Second round rear naked choke finish. When you look back at that fight, Were there any moments, or was there anything about that performance that you didn't like?
Yeah, there was a lot I didn't like. I I've been in there and knocked someone out with the first shot that I've thrown. Like even like the Felipe fight, things like that. I'm my biggest worst critic. You know, like I can do 100 things right, and I'll find the one thing I done wrong. Like I'm terrible for that. So that performance was there was a lot going into it. You know, like the pressure of the moment. I don't think you would ever experience that. Like even your UFC debut is not the same as having Dana sat there deciding if you are going to have a UFC career, um, which is pretty crazy. So the pressure of the moment and stuff like that played a factor, and it was just I don't know. Like once I found my rhythm, it's a different kind of thing when there's no crowd as well. There's a lot going into it. There's a lot of like things about it. My performance wasn't my best, but I done what I said I would do. You know, like I said I'd find the finish, and I did. I went in there and finished the guy, and he was no bum. You know, like there's a reason that people go on this show. They're no bums. They're the best of the best outside the UFC, trying to get in the UFC. So yeah, he was a tough guy from a great gym, and he was game. He come to fight, and there weren't much on him, so it was very hard to prepare for that. I just had to do what I do and adapt accordingly when I'm inside the cage, and that shows because the first round he come out aggressive, fast, and it was back and forth, and then the second round I figured him out, and I was taking over. Once I figure someone out, that's it. It's game over.
That fight was in September. Did you decide to take some time off, or were you back in the gym training for your debut?
Yeah, I wanted to get out before the end of the year, if I'm honest. I wanted to be out
Mhm.
December. I wanted a quick turnaround. I'm always in the gym training. Like I don't just train because I've got a fight coming up. I'm always in the gym. So yeah, I was straight back in the gym and I was improving my skills straight away. Um, tried to get out before the end of the year, wasn't happening because it was fully booked. But I was still in the gym, just leveling up my skills. And then obviously it come around the March card. So Boxing Day. So day after Christmas, I jumped straight into training camp. It's been a 12-week training camp. And yeah, I can't wait to go out there and show the levels that I've gone to in the last, it's like 5, 6 months. Like I like to be active. If I'm healthy, I'm active. And yeah, when I have time off, I don't have time off. I'm in the gym getting better. So the fighter I was in September will not be the same fighter I am in 3 weeks' time.
What did you work on before you got into the camp?
Everything. I kind of I enjoy obviously my jiu-jitsu and stuff like the gi when I'm outside of camp more than when I'm in the camp. But I'm just leveling up my whole game. You know, like I pride myself on being a complete martial artist. I'm not just a striker. I'm not just a grappler. I'm not just a wrestler. I'm a complete martial artist. So when I'm in the gym every single day, that's what I'm doing. I'm leveling up my whole entire game. So when an opponent comes across the table, it doesn't matter who it is or what style they've got. I've just got to sharpen up them certain areas that they're good at, you know. So as soon as I finished that fight, there was certain things in the fight I wasn't happy with that I wanted to improve on, and I done that. And yeah, going into training, going into my fight camp, I was in shape, you know, like I was training full time, fully and leveling up. So it didn't 1 or 2 weeks shift a bit of the cape that I put on over Christmas, and then yeah, it's been a great camp to be honest.
Your opponent, undefeated, Yanal Ashmoz. What are your thoughts on him and the fighting style that he brings?
Yeah, he's a tough guy, you know, like it's hard to what he brings because the last time he fought was a year ago. So if he's improved as much as I have in a year, he's not going to be the same fighter. That's the kind of mindset I've got going into this, you know, like I'm expecting the best version of him today. And yeah, if I can really only go off his attributes, so he's not going to have grown he's not going to have grown a foot in a year, and his body shape ain't going to have changed, you know, like he's going to be the same kind of stature. So yeah, he's tough, durable, and I believe he's going to come with that undefeated confidence. That confidence that you're because you haven't lost, you can't lose, and that's going to be your biggest downfall. You know.
Team Crossface, man. That's the spot, right? And just talk about your coaches and your training partners that's helping you for this camp.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's come together for this one. You know, like obviously it's a big moment for the team and the gym. Um, being the first fighter from our team to fight in the UFC, apart from Dave, the coach. So yeah, like but we got fighters fighting other organisations that are just as big, like Charlie Leary and Bellator, and we got other fighters that are coming up. And honestly, it's not always like you go to these big gyms and obviously they've all got names, but you see some of the best in the world come from these smaller gyms that have just been like a family unit. Look at Volkanovski and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, my whole team, my coaches, everyone around me that push me on it. There's so many names that, again, they're not like they're not names that you go, oh yeah, 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 he fought him, he fought. But trust me, they give me some of the hardest rounds that I've ever had, and that makes the fights easy, you know. So we got a very small connect team, but we push each other daily and we make sure that we're improving daily. We're not just going in smashing each other up every day and seeing who's the toughest fighter in the room. We're leveling up every single time, and yeah, without my team and Team Crossface and the people I have around me pushing me every day, I wouldn't be where I am today. So this is going to be a team effort. You know, I'm going to go out there, get the job done, and it will be for my team and everyone that's helped me over this training camp.
Do you do any cross training throughout camp?
Meaning, like, what do you mean?
Meaning, you know, going and sparring at other gyms, or even just maybe you have another striking coach or something.
Yeah, like I have done before. Like I've been up to Leon Edwards' gym and stuff like that. But for this camp, I kind of have a chip on my shoulder that I want to do it with my team. I want it I want to do it with Team Crossface because I don't want there to be a narrative. I don't want, like, if I did travel to other gyms and train, that becomes a narrative. Like if I trained up at Leon Edwards' gym, but I got to the UFC with the team I have around me. And for this one, I just wanted that. I just wanted a team around us. We've had people come in and out for sparring, but it's been very just with my team because I want to prove that we can do it with a team around me. You know, I got to this level with this team, so I'm not going to start traveling around too much. Obviously, for future fights, I will travel around and also have people come in. But yeah, for this one, it was just like a little chip on my shoulder. I want to prove that you can do it with the team you are from.
You guys have had, you know, the legend Eric Paulson come in and out of that gym, you know, helping you guys out when he can. And I believe he came into the gym late last year. How was it working with him? He's probably giving you all kinds of crazy tips and tricks.
Yeah, he's got some of them slick tricks, you know.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure when he comes over, does seminars, and I was actually very fortunate enough that I was able to go to a few of them because I wasn't fighting. I was able to travel around with Dave. He took me along with him, and I picked up some slick little tricks. That's for sure. You always do, you know. But being under Dave, you know, like Dave's been around Eric for however many years, and he has all them tricks as well. And he's my head coach. He's around me every single day beating me up and putting them tricks on me. So I learned them pretty quick from Dave. And yeah, Eric's he's got some mad tricks.
Yeah, it's a great combination right there of coaches you have. How do you envision this fight, man? How do you see yourself picking up that first UFC victory?
I'm going out this performance of my life on, you know, like I truly believe I'm going to go out there and dominate. I prepare every single fight like for war. I'm ready for a 3-round all-out war. But I plan on this being a pitch like shutout. Wherever the fight goes, however the fight goes, I plan on putting on the performance of my life and showing out.
All right, man. Before I let you go, I want to do a quick segment called Twitter
Yeah.
Reaction. So what this is I'm going to read some tweets people wrote about you on Twitter, and you can react to them. All right, you ready for it? Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. At I am the Mr. X, and this is referencing your Contender Series fight. After it was over, this is what he tweeted out: "Great fight, a beautiful rear naked choke against a guy who has superior jiu-jitsu." Did you think he had superior jiu-jitsu than you?
I never really look at it like that. We've had a few opponents like that where they've said they've been like jiu-jitsu world champions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, you can be a jiu-jitsu world champion, you can be a great wrestler, but we're not just wrestling, we're not just rolling, you know, like it's MMA, and that's what I do well. So I fought like world-class strikers and been able to outstrike them because it's totally different when you can mix in takedowns and it becomes a full mixed martial arts fight. So yeah, I've had it a few times like people say like they're world-class this and that, but maybe I'm just world-class in MMA, you know.
That's a good response. At Jimbo_J_, 6'4" lightweight. What the fuck? Like, You're 6'4" lightweight. That's like unheard of. How do you respond to that?
Well, there's only yeah. To be honest, everyone says it when they see me and meet me, but it's like I think a youth's on my side. Um, but this has always been my frame. I've been fighting a lightweight since I fought at welterweight as an amateur, but I've been fighting a lightweight since I was 16 years old. It's always been my frame. Yes, I've got bigger and bigger over time, over the years. And I think you're still on my side. But it is discipline and it's not easy. Don't get me wrong for me to make lightweight, but I am not killing myself for any advantages. Like if I think that lightweight gets too difficult, I'll go up to welterweight. I believe my skills will get me through fights, and lightweight's just the division I'm in. With a discipline camp, which I'm always disciplined once I get a fight, and the structure I have, it's really not that difficult. I've seen people make it a lot harder, make the lightweight limit a lot harder than I do, and yeah, I'm not bothered about going up. But yeah, I can't complain. It's got its perks of certain attributes that other fighters don't have. I think it's only me and the tarantula. I can't think of his name. He's up there. He's like number. Yeah, he's also. It's like me and him are the only two that are like this tall. In the lightweight division, so it does have its perks, but again, you've got to be able to use it. You can be like look at Stefan Struve, like he struggled. I know it's heavyweight and it don't take a lot, but he was like one of the tallest fighters ever, and if you don't know how to use your range, it can really play against you. So thankfully I know how to use my range, and yeah, being 6'3" in the lightweight division does pay off.
Yeah, and you're only 26, so you got to take advantage of your youth, man, while you can still cut the weight and take advantage of it. At Luis Asshole, it says Luis Asshole 34. Thought it was Machine Gun Kelly for a second. People call you Machine Gun Kelly. Do they compare you to Machine Gun Kelly ever?
No, Machine Gun Kelly's one dating Megan Fox, right? Is that the guy?
Exactly.
Am I totally off topic?
You're right.
Fair play to him, because he's doing all right then. No, he's doing all right then, isn't he? So compare me to him. I don't actually know who he is, but I think I recognize him through the one dating Megan Fox. I know who he is now.
Yeah.
He ain't doing too bad, is he?
No, man. I'd like to be in his shoes. I ain't gonna lie, right? I ain't gonna lie.
I think this guy that put this out is probably also wishing he was in his shoes. So
exactly.
He's not doing bad.
March 18th, man. UFC 286. Go in the descriptions. Download the AllStar app. Sam, appreciate the time, and have a hell of a fight, man, in London. It's gonna be incredible.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on, and tune in because March 18th. I'm coming for that performance of the night bonus.